Is an invasion of Kaliningrad really coming? Or is Europe preparing its nuclear shield for a far wider confrontation with Russia? As Putin claims to repel a NATO Baltic invasion, is Europe quietly preparing for the worst-case scenario on its eastern flank? Is Putin planning to test NATO's resolve, forcing Europe to rethink whether its existing nuclear umbrella is enough? Is Germany afraid it could become the first major target of Putin's pressure, as tensions rise across the Baltic region? Is Berlin rushing to strengthen Europe's nuclear defenses, rather than build its own bomb, as Russia prepares for a possible NATO confrontation? Can Trump still be trusted to defend Europe, or are European powers now building their own deterrent against Putin? With Putin drilling near NATO territory and Europe discussing nuclear options, is a Russia-NATO clash moving closer than ever? Europe is rethinking its nuclear defense amid mounting uncertainty inside NATO and growing concerns over Russia's military posture near the alliance's borders. Germany is in talks to help fund Britain's Trident nuclear deterrent, according to The Telegraph, as Berlin explores a stronger European security umbrella. Sources told The Telegraph that fears of a Russian strike on a NATO ally are helping drive the talks, amid concern Moscow may test the alliance's resolve. Trump's unpredictability has also fueled Berlin's search for a new European shield, with officials questioning whether Washington will maintain its long-standing security commitments. Berlin would join existing British and French deterrents rather than develop its own bomb, seeking deeper European cooperation without triggering a new proliferation race. Germany could help fund Britain's existing Trident nuclear deterrent, providing financial support for a force London already assigns to NATO's collective defense. Berlin could integrate more closely with British nuclear planning, giving German officials a greater role in discussions around Europe's deterrence posture. Germany could support Britain's deterrent using conventional forces, helping protect the bases, personnel, and infrastructure that keep the nuclear force operational. Berlin could deploy German-operated Patriot air defense batteries, strengthening protection against possible aerial threats to sensitive military installations. Patriot batteries could potentially help protect Faslane in Scotland, the naval base that hosts Britain's Trident submarine fleet. Berlin could also explore cooperation on future submarines, missiles, or uranium enrichment capabilities as Britain modernizes its nuclear deterrent. Notably, Faslane is home to Britain's Trident fleet and could receive German Patriot protection, under proposals to use conventional forces to secure the deterrent. Trump has repeatedly criticized Europe's reliance on America for its military defense, demanding that NATO allies take more responsibility for their own security. The US president has also threatened to withdraw American troops from the continent, deepening European concern about the future of Washington's military presence. A German source said Europe can no longer simply assume US nuclear forces will step in, forcing policymakers to confront questions once avoided in Berlin. German sources told Telegraph, and I quote, "Policymakers are waking up each morning and asking themselves what the hell the Americans are going to do tomorrow." The discussions were avoided with the argument that, when push comes to shove, the Americans will help us along with their nuclear forces. But now things are very different. Unquote. The talks come after CIA Director John Ratcliffe visited Moscow earlier this week, in an unannounced trip for discussions with Russian military intelligence counterparts. Reports said Ratcliffe's talks focused on preventing a Russian attack on a NATO ally, against the backdrop of new intelligence concerns about Moscow's intentions. US intelligence said Russia was assessing an attack on an ally to test NATO's resolve, raising fresh alarm over the alliance's readiness to respond collectively. That threat makes Europe's nuclear debate more urgent, as confidence in long-standing US commitments faces growing questions across key European capitals. Britain says its nuclear deterrent already protects every NATO ally around the clock, with its arsenal committed to the alliance's collective defense. The nuclear talks come as both Russia and NATO conducted major military exercises, underlining the intensifying security competition across Europe. Against the backdrop of sustained tensions between Russia and NATO, the Russian Navy's Baltic Fleet carried out tactical air defense drills near Kaliningrad on August 26. The purpose of the exercise was to rehearse how Baltic Fleet units would respond to and repel a simulated enemy air raid aimed at their naval base and nearby military facilities. Crews from ships stationed at the Baltic Naval Base carried out their assigned training tasks, including surveillance, target detection, threat classification, and the simulated destruction of hostile aircraft. Under the drill scenario, Su-30 multirole fighters, Mi-24 helicopters and unmanned aerial vehicles from the fleet's drone units acted as the simulated attacking force. After detecting and classifying the incoming targets, the warship crews used their anti-aircraft missile and artillery systems to notionally destroy the simulated enemy force. The drills came amid continuing NATO military activity around the Baltic Sea, where alliance members have increased surveillance, exercises, and force readiness following Russia's war in Ukraine. Russia has previously rejected calls for the Baltic Sea to become what Moscow describes as a NATO inland sea, arguing that the alliance's expanding presence threatens Russia's security interests in the region. President Vladimir Putin has said Russia would respond to any emerging threats to Kaliningrad, a heavily militarized Russian exclave position between NATO members Poland and Lithuania. NATO held a large air exercise on August 18, days after Russia's own military activity near Kaliningrad, bringing Allied aircraft together over Poland and the wider Baltic region. Around 25 aircraft from various NATO member states were reported to have joined the August 18 activity, although outside estimates varied and could not be fully verified by alliance officials. US, Polish and Lithuanian aircraft were detected in the region alongside American R-64E Apache attack helicopters, reflecting the multinational and multi-role nature of the exercise. A NATO E-3A Sentry aircraft operating over northern Poland provided airborne early warning, battle management and command and control support for the wider air package. A U.S. Air Force EA-37B Compass Call electronic warfare aircraft operated near the Baltic approaches to Kaliningrad, while Artemis carried out intelligence and surveillance missions in the same area. The presence of several aerial refueling tankers was notable because it showed that prolonged time in the air and extended operational endurance were central to the day's training activity. Separate military aviation activity was also recorded over waters between Norway and Denmark, adding to the broader picture of heightened NATO air operations across northern Europe. A British P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft and a German military aircraft were tracked conducting flights for several hours between Norway and Denmark, though their specific mission was not publicly disclosed. The exact aim of the separate Norwegian-Danish flights remains unclear, and there is no public evidence that they were directly connected to the Kaliningrad air exercise. NATO Allied Air Command said the alliance is constantly improving its defensive capabilities, underscoring that such training is intended to maintain readiness and protect Allied airspace.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.